Hey, Ridgepoint, Chris again, here answering some of the questions that we didn't get to this past Sunday when we were doing texture questions. The next question actually says this: if God told Israel not to have any gods but him, why did Israel withhold the brazen serpent? And then why does the church worship other gods? Okay, so what this particular question is referring to is it's kind of a little known story in the Old Testament. It's actually found in Numbers 21, 4 through 9. And I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to kind of summarize it. But basically what happens is the Israelites are out in the desert. Moses is leading them through the desert. And as often happened in the desert, the Israelites begin to grumble against God and they grumble against Moses. Well, God sends these serpents into the encampment, and these serpents begin to bite the Israelites, and people begin to die. And so the Israelites quickly realize, oh, we've sinned, we've grumbled against God, and we've grumbled against Moses. And they say, Moses, help us. And so Moses prays, and God tells him, build this bronze serpent and put it up on a pole. And anytime somebody gets bit by one of these snakes, have them look at the serpent, and then they'll actually live. Instead of dying, they'll live. So what was meant for something good, this was a good thing that God told Moses to create this so that people would look at it and they would live. What was meant for good, eventually becomes something bad, because over the history of the Israelites, it becomes more and more, this bronze serpent becomes more and more important to them, to the point that they actually begin to worship it as an idol. And so later on, actually, we read in 2 Kings 18:4, a new king comes to power, King Hezekiah, and all these other kings had done evil things and had really not followed God. And Hezekiah comes to power and he says, you know what? We're going to change that. We're going to go back to following God. And one of the things that he does is he kind of begins to clean up Israel. And one of the things that he destroys is this bronze serpent. He destroys it because it had become an object of worship. Instead of people worshiping God, they were worshiping the serpent. And so he destroys that. And so, but that's kind of common. And we see that in the church today, where we begin to worship the methodology or the way that we do church instead of actually worshiping Jesus and instead of actually worshiping God. And so it's a common practice, and not that it's good. It's something that, we might find a good methodology, something that really works, and then all of a sudden we begin to worship it instead of worshiping God. And so we have to avoid that, and we have to always remember that it's about our relationship with Jesus, and that ultimately he's our Savior and he's our forgiveness. Thanks.